All right, so Ross Chastain, NASCAR's main character of the next gen era, he's back. It's only been like 2 or 3 races, but I feel like he's back. Because, I say back because after Darlington a couple of weeks ago, there was the so-called come to Jesus moment where Rick Hendrick said, if you put our guys in the fence, we're going to fence you right back, and we don't care if you're a Chevrolet driver, we're going to race you the way that you race us. And we all had a big hubbub about it, right? We started talking about whether or not Ross Chastain had to change his ways. And it's interesting because whether there's signal or it's noise, Ross was not part of the dynamic. He was not running up front. And so then people started to wonder, did Ross Chastain lose his edge? Does he need to be this way to continue to run up front? And I think this win tonight here at picturesque Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee, kind of proved that's not necessarily the case, right? I think he ran, in my opinion, the most perfect race of his Cup career, right? Fast in practice. He wins the pole. He wins the race from the pole. He has to pass Denny Hamlin clean to do it. He has to pass Martin Truex Jr. and hold off Martin on a late run with 25, 30 laps to go. And ran a really good race, right? You did all the things that you have to do to block and to play the air games. And there was no drama. There was no late contact. There was no putting another car into the fence. It was just a really good driver with really good pit stops, with a really good crew chief doing really good race car things, right? And I think that was kind of a statement for what this number one team can be as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, which, by the way, they're now in officially. They were going to be there probably regardless, but they're now officially in the playoffs. 5 more playoff points to go towards September, and I think that's a big deal. I think this team obviously made the championship 4 last year. They're a championship caliber organization and team that's been together for a long time now, going back to Chip Ganassi Racing. So, I think that was a really big deal for them, not only to win in Nashville, which is the spiritual home of Trackhouse, but to do it the way that they did it. We in the media center asked Justin about the way that they came together after Darlington. What was that conversation really like? Because, us in the media, we kind of turned that into a conversation about how, is Justin trying to tone down the way that Ross Chastain drives a little bit. You could kind of make the argument when you go back and listen to what he told Dave Moody on SiriusXM. It sounded like they were trying to tone him down. And Justin says that's not the case. And I think this is an important conversation. It's an important distinction. And listen, Justin Marks is a super straight shooter guy. When Justin Marks says, listen, this is what I meant, I think he's telling the truth, right? I think that I take him at face value. And what Justin told us was that he told Ross and he told everyone at the team that we cannot give up opportunities where we are clearly the best car, the best team, the best driver. We cannot put ourselves into position to where there might be some retaliation or there might be some pushback or criticism. That if we have the best car, we need to execute on pit road. Ross needs to execute and make sure that no one wants to retaliate against him, that no one wants to fence him. And it's about cleaning everything up. And I think that's pretty much what tonight at Nashville represented, right? That Ross ran a super clean race. He didn't need to drive super aggressive. He let the race come to him, especially when he lost the track position in the first half of the race or so. And so I think this was just kind of a statement victory in that regard, right? The other big part of the news tonight was the Ryan Blaney crash. Ryan Blaney remarkably found the one section of track that didn't have safer barrier, and it was a really hard hit. And keep in mind, by the way, that the changes to the Cup car to the front clip are not in effect yet. So the front end of that car was crumpled up, not because the front clip was designed to cave in that way. It crumpled in because it was a really hard hit on concrete. And It took about 5, 6, 7 minutes for Ryan Blaney to come out of the infield care center. They really had to put him through the checks. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of concussion protocol involved with that. Ryan said it was the hardest hit of his life in his career, and that car showed it, right? It was damaged pretty badly. So Ryan got hit from behind, hit the wall, and he even came over the radio and told his spotter, Josh Williams, I need help. And now he told us, he was just gassed. He hit the wall so hard that, he just needed a couple of seconds to catch his breath. But NASCAR is going to look at it. NASCAR sent us a statement that they are going to review the track, as they always do. And it goes without saying that section of track here in turn 1 will not be, uncovered come next year for sure. And it just kind of underscores that we have a lot of safety gains to make with this car and with the tracks, and both of those in totality, right? I mean, maybe the safer barrier wouldn't be so important if this car wasn't so stiff, and certainly NASCAR is working on that as well. So more data, more lessons to be learned on that side. Other than that, I thought it was a great race, right? You had some really cool restarts. I cannot believe that Martin Truex, Ross Chastain, and William Byron were able to hold it 3 wide the way that they did there for 3 laps off that one restart. Really good racing. A good amount of passing up front. Listen, dirty air is always going to be a thing with this configuration of car, and certainly Ross Chastain was able to kind of mirror drive a little bit on Martin Truex. Martin Truex mirror drove on him too earlier in the race. That's what you have to do in this car, and this car creates a tremendous amount of dirty air. But I didn't think the racing was too bad for it. I thought it was a good old-fashioned 1.3 mile stock car race, and probably the better race here. I hate that it finished at night because it probably underscored those dirty air aerodynamic issues just a little bit. But a good race here at Nashville, and next week is a big one. It's an interesting show, the first of its kind in the Cup Series. We're going street course racing. We're going to downtown Chicago to race on the city streets, and I will be there. I'm going to show you guys around as early as Thursday, and look forward to catching up with you guys there.